We have a man who's just been convicted of killing his best friend. The victim's name was Edward Gray. He's 43 years old and is a father. Now, what's crazy is that this happened a couple of years ago, and the guy is just now being convicted. The suspect's name is Angelo Britton. This happened underneath an overpass off of Beltway 8 and I-10 East around 11 p.m. Simply put, they were driving in the car, and the car broke down. When they got out to inspect the vehicle, Angelo just pulled out his weapon and shot his best friend. Loyalty is few and far between these days, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful who you roll with. I guess the saying is really true. You know, your enemy is the one closest to you. Not all the time, but for the most part, you got to know who you're rolling with. Now, I've said over and over and over again, I hate really going to clubs. I've done it a couple times. Every time I go, it's just, I never really enjoy it, man. We have another club shooting that happened at V Live here in Houston. This happened this last Saturday morning. According to HPD, there was a man in his 20s who was shot in the hip just inside the front door of the nightclub. Now, this club was located off of 6600 Harwin Drive. That area is not the best anyway. To me, it's just not an area that I would choose to go frequent. There's just too much activity going on in that region, man. A lot of these places are just, I say they're dank, seedy, all the above. The guy came out okay, but that's beside the point. You know, just watch these establishments that you go to, man. These places really aren't it. Just be safe out there, y'all. So in Houston, we have several communities that are quote unquote wealthy. One of these is the Bel Air neighborhood. Now, what's funny is when you go down Bel Air Boulevard, whether you're going east or west, what's funny is once you cross the freeway, it transforms to a whole nother neighborhood. Like literally right after the highway, you have multi-million-dollar homes on one side, and after the freeway, you have, lower income neighborhoods. Well, this happened on the quote wealthy side of the neighborhood this last Saturday, where, there were some men in a blue car and men in a white car on Mary Lane this last Saturday, where they were just riding around shooting, okay? Riding around, just shooting through the neighborhood. They weren't really targeting anybody. They were just shooting, right? HPD gave chase, because, of course, there's police all through that neighborhood. Nobody was hurt. But it was just a group of guys who were just riding through the neighborhood, fired in the air. About 8 to 10 shots were fired off in total. There was actually a Bel Air resident who drove right through that incident, and a bullet wound up hitting her car. A lot of these times, these guys don't know how to shoot. A lot of times, these guys are just getting these toy guns. I call them toy guns. They're not really toy guns. And they're just firing off like it's a sport. No consideration of what's going on and no consideration for the people in the neighborhood, man. Now, I always talk about these gas stations. Everybody knows about these gas stations. Dangerous gas stations, seedy gas stations, man. We got 2 guys that the cops are still looking for who robbed some folks at gunpoint that took place a few months ago. They're still looking for them, even though they're dead center on camera in the video that you see. This is a Southeast Houston gas station, and quite frankly, what you can see is, these 2 guys roll up. This person had a bunch of money outside with them. They pulled up with the weapon. As you can see, the car sped off. This one guy got into his vehicle, and the money fell on the ground, and they tried to get what they could. They got scraps for taking the chance of ruining their life. Regardless, nobody died from the incident, but as you can see, these dudes are ready to pull the trigger and make it happen. They're ready to crash out over a few dollars, and they didn't even get all the money that they robbed these folks for. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Watch where you are at all times. Now, I recently did a video on a shooting that happened at a tire shop. We have a separate incident at another tire shop on the north side. The shop is called Entire X, okay? Now, an armed man walked into the tire shop acting like he wanted to buy something, wound up pistol whipping the employee, and then pulled the gun on the woman who was also in the vicinity. It turns out that the woman that this guy, pulled the gun on is the wife of the owner who was somewhere else on the premises doing work, in his business. Now, after the man walked in, pretending to be a customer, like I said, he pistol whipped the man behind the desk and left a gash on him. In the video, man, that you can see in front of you, there's a bunch of panic going on, and when they realize what's happening, Now the guy got about $1,000 from the register, and he also demanded, keys, phones, and wallets. They still haven't found the guy. That's the thing about this city, man, is you could be on camera, you could have a dead shot at the person who committed the crime, and it'll be months and maybe years before the police can even catch up to you. So surveillance video is cool, but for the most part, if you're not getting these guys, I would argue within a few days or maybe even weeks, depending on the circumstance, to me, it's almost pointless because you got a bunch of people riding around the city. You don't know who's who, man. The guy that you're standing to next at the grocery store or whatever the case may be, could have robbed somebody the other day, could have shot someone, you know what I mean? Could be involved in some nefarious activity. You never know. Even if the person was on camera, it's such a big city, and the lack of police, presence in the city. I mean, as it stands, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for HPD to get out to any call. You know what I mean? So it's just like any other major metropolitan area. You can't really rely on law enforcement to really assist you in the moment. You got to have preventative measures up front, aka self-defense, aka a firearm, to the best of your ability to protect yourself. It's the Bayou City Report checking back in, man. Y'all stay safe out there. I'm out.